Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Furtbird the Nerd with another video game market report for y'all. My manners suck. Just wanted to say that out loud randomly. I cannot stand this team. Anyway, back to video games. If you guys could do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends. It is June 11th, and I am upset. Upset the video game market, upset the Mariners. I'm actually not that mad. But anyway, let's get into it. I only have like 8 games today. A couple of really good ones though. Some observations on what particular systems to invest in right now. I think it makes some sense if you're trying to get ahead of the market 3 to 5 years down the road. Just kind of a general theme I guess I've been seeing is that like the video game market's still trying to figure itself out. So I wouldn't go all hard on like, oh, sorry, I wouldn't go all in on Jesus. I'm not gonna edit that out. I'm not gonna go all in particular like games, but I will be on the lookout for particular systems and kind of thinking about 3 to 5 years out. I don't know when the jump's gonna happen, but I do anticipate it happening. I got some ones to kind of look out for, maybe not invest in so much, but I do appreciate everyone's support. God, I can't believe I started with that. Anyway, Super Mario Brothers Maker for the 3DS. This 3DS may be the best percent return if you get a 9.8 or higher. That's kind of what I've been kind of seeing lately. You're gonna pay about 30 to 35 bucks for these sealed games. Getting definitely 9.8 or higher. Maybe pay 70 bucks for 9.8 of like kind of the more common ones, and then hold on to it for a couple of years. You'll triple your investment, hopefully. That's kind of my assessment with Nintendo 3DS. Game Boy Color is a little more expensive, but I think there's some opportunity here, and there are some flippable type games. If you get like a 9.9 and you spend 30 bucks on one, send over to grading, and you could double your money there and maybe invest into an older game. I don't know, but I think there's some potential with the Nintendo 3DS. It was a great system, very beloved, and that generation is getting older and they're having more money to spend on random games. This was kind of a fun one. Mario and Luigi Brothership, $229 for a WATA 10. If I were you, I'd get the first prints, 9.9s and 10s of any Switches, just in general. And you want to get the first print. Now, on the specific Nintendo games, so like the Marios, Pokemons, whatever, it's got the 4 zeros on the back. Make sure you check out, like the corners are good. I don't know if big box games are investable at this point. You have to send them VGA to get graded. I don't know if WATA or CGC will ever get into that type of grading system. But you do have to put a little more money to invest in. And I think they just not very common to get graded. But I honestly didn't even know this game existed, but $229 for a 10, it's pretty high. It's a little risky. I don't know if you could get, a 10 out of these, but WATA is very generous on their 10s there. So I don't know. Good luck. Dragon Ball Z for the Game Boy Advance. Now, I was talking about 3DS earlier. Game Boy Advance games are kind of expensive. I think I have another example coming up here for a more well-known game. 8.5 for a CIB of this game. Now, I'm gonna imagine this game is not very high print. It's got Atari sticker or Atari brand on the front, but an 8.5 CIB for a handheld game, that's pretty high. And like I said, like kind of this next bullet point, Game Boy Advances and 3DS is our best return on investment. I just think it's a pretty good opportunity to flip right away. And also, I think this is like definitely a game you could search for like at a bargain bin, antique store, even a pawn shop. I don't know, but I didn't know about this game, so I want to put it out there and hopefully put out some good information for you guys there. So Game Boy Advance, Dragon Ball Z Advanced Adventures. Next up, we have Resident Evil, the Director's Cut Greatest Hits Edition. Now, I'm not a huge Greatest Hits buyer, just because they're overly print. It's the second print if you think about it. But I am seeing that particular Greatest Hits games do pretty well. You can buy one for 100 bucks. Hopefully, it grades really well. But 9.8 sold for 550 of this particular one. PlayStation, PS1 games are really tough to get sealed 9.8, and that's why they go for such a high premium, especially the really popular ones. I think it's a great sale. I think it's easier to get a Greatest Hits edition and try and get it graded. Whether you're a collector of Resident Evil or a lover of it and you can't get a first print, or just in general. 98 for 550 though is really good. So yeah. All right, on to the next. But before I go on to the next one, I just want to thank everyone for subscribing, telling all your friends, and liking this show. But if you guys could do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends about the show. Watch our past shows or my past shows, and I'll keep doing them. See what happens. This was a big sale. God of War for the PS2, the second game. $725 for a 9.6 grading. You know, it's pretty tough to get a first print 9.6 or higher for PS2. If you do though, they're gonna do really well. Now you have to make sure it's the first print. I don't know if this one has a sticker on it or not, but I don't know when the movie's coming out of this game, but I just thought it was an interesting sale. 9.6 for 725. That's pretty high. And there was multiple bids on that game in particular. But yeah, graded 9.6 or higher, you're gonna make some money. And I don't know what the regular like sealed games go for, but imagine if you get like a nice copy for like $100 and you get a 9.6, that's even a 9.4. That's a pretty solid grade there. And this was a CGC, I believe. All right, I thought this was kind of a fun one. PS3s are, I don't know like what's going to push PS3 like sealed games like further in the market, but 125 for 9.8 sold. I just thought the cover was cool. The back presents really well as well. In my opinion, trying to find a PS3 that grades really high is pretty tough. And I think it just has to do with just the corners being like not really corners, but rounded. You're more susceptible to get just with it moving in a box or just like regular, just going from one place to another. Those edges kind of grind against like cardboard or another game, whatever. And so it's hard to get them like perfectly sealed. I thought it was just a fun one. I want to invest in this. I don't know what's going to push this up, but it was a cool cover, nice grade for an older system, $1.25. Can't beat it. This was my vintage game of the week, Sega Saturn, The Crow. I think there's so much stuff going for this. I thought $8.5 for $450 is just a steal. It's a cult following franchise. The game is rare. It's on Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn didn't last too long because it was in the middle of N64 and PS1. Excuse me. And I think 450 was a steal for an 8.5. Good luck trying to find this in like nice grade. The Sega Saturn cases are very susceptible to chipping. So it's just really tough to get this in high grade. And last but not least, Game Boy Advance. So again, I was alluding to Game Boy Advance, Game Boy 3DS. $250 for a CIB not graded. And I don't think that's undervalued. And the 250 I saw was it was pretty good. It probably would grade like a 7.5, 8. But it had everything in the box. I think Pokemon's the safest bet, especially for Game Boy, because you got to think about it really pushed Game Boy Pokemon, or Pokemon was that it was on the go. Kids were getting in trouble for having their Game Boys out playing Pokemon in class. And that just adds so much to the value of these games. You can still get value in the regular consoles, but I think just the Game Boy, especially these only were out on Nintendo systems, is just the way to go. So anyway, well, that's your report for this week. Hope you guys all have a good day. Take care, and we'll see you next time. And hit that like button for me, subscribe, and we'll keep doing these as soon as possible. All right, take care.